Good evening, everyone. This is the December 12, 2018 meeting of the Auburn Conservation Commission. This meeting is being broadcast live. Is that right, gentlemen? And will also be recorded for further viewing, if you are so inclined, at the town website, which is auburnguide.com. Before we begin tonight's proceeding, I'm required to ask if anyone in the audience is making a recording of this proceeding. Okay, with shaking heads. Before we begin tonight's public hearings, the board needs to reorganize, so I will then turn over the meeting to Ms. Conroy to entertain nominations.
Okay, I'd like to entertain a nomination for the chair position of the Auburn Conservation Commission.
I'd like to nominate Michael Garland as the chairman.
I second.
Is there any discussion? Any other nominations? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed to vote?
Okay.
Thank you, everyone. I would like to nominate Tom Fallon to be vice chairman of the Auburn Conservation Commission.
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion? Any other nominations? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed to vote? It's unanimous.
Thank you.
All right. Gee, that was less than 3 minutes.
Thank you.
That was my minute and a half.
I try to be
Prompt.
precise. The first item on tonight's agenda is a 7 p.m. public hearing, CPD Energy Solutions 2 LLC, a notice of intent for the installation of a large-scale ground-mounted solar photovoltaic facility at 1 Henshaw Street in Auburn. Is there a motion to open?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed to vote?
Hi. Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
I'm Sheila.
And can you just state your name, please, for the record?
Certainly. My name is Barry Skolchi. I'm a principal with CPD Energy Solutions, and this is Paul McLean, who works with me.
Okay, very good.
Thank you very much for hearing us again this evening. What I thought I would do is just give a quick, brief update on what's transpired since the last time we were before you, and then I'll turn it over to our professionals, representatives from LEC and Meridian, to go through the project and some of the changes that have occurred. Since we were last here, we've actually been pretty busy. So we appeared before the ZBA on November 15th, and we were granted our special permit for the project.
Continue.
Continue, okay. We also, on December 12th, there was a site visit, which I believe, Mr. Garland, you were present.
The
8th, excuse me.
Yeah,
Doing a walk of the property.
Yes.
We also appeared last night before the planning board again. And what was, I think, relevant there is that when I was here before, I indicated that Burton Engineering was completing a peer review of the project, and we've worked diligently to address all their comments and issues. And I have before me, which I'll leave copies of their final report, which basically indicates that everything is good with the communications we have with them, and they're satisfied with the project as it stands. I'll leave that here. All right. Our expectation tonight, and hopefully yours as well, is that we'll be able to hear additional testimony, close the meeting, and discuss what are the conditions for our notice of intent. So with that, I'll turn it over to Rich Kirby from LEC.
Good evening. Since our last meeting, we received DEP comments. They've also issued a file number, and there's been some back and forth email correspondence with the project team, Mr. Garland, Judy Schmitz, and
Sheila.
thank you, Sheila. Copied, going back and forth through what the DEP comments were. We provided a response to those comments and addressed everything. There was one item that remained outstanding, and it really just had to do with a difference in interpretation of the regulations. But it essentially was just documenting the alternatives analysis required under 1058-4, which we did. And essentially, to summarize it for you, there's been a suggestion that if we access this site by way of Henshaw Street, that we could avoid the relatively small amount of riverfront area alteration we have at the site entrance on Leicester Street. Problem with that is, though, that a perennial tributary to Chapin Brook actually flows beneath Henshaw Street, which I don't think was apparent to Judy because we didn't really talk about it too much in our application. So if we were to rework that paper street and roadway, we'd be altering significantly more work in the riverfront area, altering significantly more riverfront area than we are as currently proposed, where it's about 1,200 roughly square feet. Actually, I think it's more like 1,000. And 310 of which is already the gravel entranceway that we all parked at when we were at the site.
Right.
So I did prepare that letter, and I do have copies of it for the record this evening. And I did receive an email from Judy that Sheila and Mr. Garland were copied on, and from Judy indicating that her comments had been satisfied. So we'd submit that. I'm happy to go over any of the comments further in further detail if you like.
Well, normally, I mean, what made this rather interesting for me is that this was literally done at the last minute. And so, you know, in fact, I was looking for this. We actually have a standing order, don't we, that we usually require documents to be submitted 7 days before our hearing. It's not, although I couldn't find it online, which I thought was interesting. So, but in any event, I mean, I did have an opportunity to go to the site with the various representatives of the applicant on Saturday. It's a huge tract of land. There's a pond up there. There's a stream that was running pretty well when we were up there. I mean, I think what's been proposed by the applicant in terms of mitigation and where the project is sited is a good use of the property and takes into consideration the wetlands that are present at the property. And so I think now, given the fact that Ms. Schmitz is satisfied with the alternatives analysis that's been provided, I mean, I have no further comment on what has been proposed, Carolyn. But I will point out, though, that the other members of the commission were unable to attend the site walk on Saturday and have not seen, at least I don't think they've seen the Burton engineering report or the response to the DEP comments that just was done, you know, literally 2 hours ago or so.
Yeah, we received the DEP comments yesterday.
No, I understand that.
It resulted in the...
But that's not intended as any criticism
Fair enough.
to you.
Thank you.
You know, so again, I have no further questions or comments members of the commission may. And also, if there are no comments from the commission, perhaps there are people in the audience that have some things to say too.
Are these the revised plans?
They are. The plan revisions resulted primarily from the Burton Engineering peer review.
Right.
Had mostly to do with pipe connections, outlet elevations, nothing really within the commission's jurisdiction or that would affect.
We're still interested in
Has a
stormwater.
revision
Design, but I'm
Noise, yeah.
happy to turn it over to Chris Ryan, project engineer here. He can overview what those changes were.
And Burton's review was predominantly focused on stormwater, which is expected. So,
Which is why I was just curious if there's any major things or, you know, where the outlet pipes were revised.
Sure. Chris, why don't you overview?
If that affects any of the neighbors.
Mr. Garland, it might be also just worthy to note that while the analysis was reformatted, so to speak, for today, just a few hours ago, it was noted in Judy's response that, you know, all the analysis had been provided, it just needed to be reformatted so it fits the rule.
So primarily the Burton comments in regards to stormwater had to do with a couple of areas. One of them was up here, these two basins here. So one thing they asked us to do was to change the location of where we're outletting here. And also we modified this long level spreader to include more specific grading to make it deeper. We've also added some more screening plantings here and also further down on the hill, which I'll show you later. But it had to do with, they just asked for specifics regarding the location of this outlet to keep it so that to keep it flowing away from this house here, number 447. And again, they just wanted a little bit more detail with some cross sections on the outlet weirs, having to do with the level spreader they weren't really questioning the basic, they didn't really question the location of where we're putting the basins or how they were designed. They just asked for some little bit more granular specifics on these outlets. The other area was, as you come down the hill, wrong sheet.
Is there a stormwater report with all the
Yes.
the values?
Yeah. Yeah, a revised report was submitted last week to the board. It's also, I believe we also submitted electronically, but I could definitely get you an extra.
You want it?
Well, yeah, I'd like to look at the numbers.
So the other area down here is, as on the entry drive, there's two basins, two infiltration basins here. The initial design was we were having it outlet, this particular one outlet over here to come down the hill, which would then cross into this. What they wanted us to do instead was to change to this side. We have a couple of cross culverts underneath the road too that would keep anything away from here, which would also minimize the clearing in here, route it under here, to the design point down at the bottom. This eventually runs off in this direction towards this road. So those are the main differences that they wanted to see as far as our stormwater analysis. And then there was some other sort of values inside the report. The way we had modeled a couple of the subcatchments over in here, they wanted to see it done a little bit differently, so we changed that. The way we characterized some of the time of concentration flows, it wasn't really, they were saying we did it wrong, they just thought we preferred this instead of that. So we made whatever other tweaks in the calculations that they had asked for in addition to these changes.
Was there a percent improvement between existing and proposed?
It varies, I don't have it off the top of my head, but it didn't really change too much from what we had initially proposed, but they were just more concerned with, again, preventing stuff from crossing, runoff from crossing certain areas of the road. So we've installed these depressions that will collect it and transport it underneath that way. I think their main concern was preventing any kind of gullying or potential washout in areas of the road, or also in the wintertime. They had also asked sort of where we were how the snow storage was going to work on site, so we elaborated on them where the snow would be pushed for the access road. I mean, once the road is cleared in the past, the access path is cleared, there's not really a lot of other plowing that goes on site. It's pretty much left alone, unless it's just anything that's going to impact any of the equipment. That was basically the gist of, also they just requested that we pave the first 50 feet of the road here instead of going gravel all the way to the end. And then you can see there's some areas of beefed up plantings here to protect sort of the sight lines of the neighboring property. And also as you're driving along here looking up the entrance, you won't see this winding, that in combination with the areas of trees that are going to be left alone, is really, you won't be able to see any of the facility up on the hill, down at the bottom of the hill. And I think we also provided copies of the rendered views for the site.
Yes, you did.
Yeah. So what we did was, because we flew the site with a LiDAR drone scanner, you're able to take that and basically superimpose the system on it, and then we could take views from anywhere that we have data. So we're able to do views from here, each of the neighbors looking up to the facility, coming from the south, etc.
Do you recall, off the top of your head, the change in elevation from the street to the top of the property?
Well, like for instance, you're coming from 780 down to about 630, so it's
Okay.
about 150 foot.
Sure felt like that when we walked it.
Yes, yes. Well, that's why we had to do the serpentine road, because the fire department asked for a maximum 10% slope on the road. They were concerned about excessive slopes on the entry road. So that was really the only option, was to do a serpentine road like that.
Okay. Any other changes? Is that the extent of the changes?
Pretty much it for as far as the burden changes.
Okay.
And there's, I think the analysis, I mean, the review was pretty much done last week. They had a couple of follow-up comments. It wasn't really new comments. It was just sort of asking us to flesh out our answers a little bit to a couple of the comments they had. And that's what the last letter would reflect.
Any other questions from the board?
Are there any culverts along the road, or is it just the basins?
Well, no, you'll have this one here.
I'm sorry, culverts wasn't the right word, swales. Does the road
Yeah, this is
all
a-
just kind of
What-
slope off?
The road does kind
Yeah.
of slope off. We do have a swale here that feeds
Okay.
into this one. That's really it for swales. I mean, the rest of it, the water is just going to come down and sort of come along. So a drop of water that comes down here is just going to keep going, just as it would have normally just done
Right.
this. We're just sort of like bumping it off to the side, trying to keep it into the wooded areas as much as possible.
But the design points weren't increased in volume after
No.
everything's done.
And it looks like all the snow is going to be removed. Was there a proposed snow removal?
I'm sorry, which one?
Is it proposed snow removal? Are they making, is the snow going to be removed?
No, they're just, for the road, the snow is just going to be pushed off to the sides as you
Okay.
go up the hill.
I mean, really, the purpose of the road is for periodic maintenance. You're not expecting a lot of traffic on that road.
No, once the area is constructed, you'll get a couple of pickup trucks maybe twice a year, unless there's an emergency.
Understood.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else?
Neighbors have any concerns?
Oh, yeah. Any comment from the audience? Okay. All right, thank you very much. So, if there are no other comments either from the board or from the audience, is there a motion?
Make a motion to close the hearing for
ZPT?
VPT.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second that?
Is there any discussions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed to vote. All right, gentlemen, we have a crowded agenda this evening, but we will do our utmost to issue an order of conditions, or at least prepare it tonight.
We really appreciate it.
All right,
Thank you very much.
thank you.
Thank you very much.
You too. I can send copies to everybody.
Adam and that's usually the roads there. And you have an idea, so I
Yeah.
can have it something different.
All right, great. All right, thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thanks for introducing yourself.
All right. The next item on tonight's agenda is a 7:10 public hearing. Margaret McDermott, a request for determination of the construction of a single-family dwelling on property at 138 Rochdale Street. Is there a motion open?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed to vote.
Hi,
Are you Ms. McDermott?
no, my name is Karen Keegan, I'm from Guaranteed Builders.
Okay.
I'm here representing Mrs. McDermott.
Are you Mrs. McDermott?
Missy.
Ms. McDermott.
Okay.
Okay, very good.
I want to give you guys a couple of colored prints. Same thing, just colored up.
Thank you.
Mrs. McDermott is proposing to construct a single-family house on her lot at 138 Rochdale Road. This is an existing lot that conforms to zoning. She's looking to put in a 36 by 27 and a half house on her lot with room to put a garage in future if she chooses.
Okay.
The house is sitting off the street at about 137 feet. It complies to zoning. It is town water and town sewer with a driveway up the right side of the lot. On the lot, there is a drainage swale, which when I was out there doing the survey, the drainage swale was very dry, and that was in July. I mean, bone dry. There's no BBW associated with that. The lot is a grassed, that is a mowed area, mowed lawn. And I believe that it's running right now. That swale is definitely running now.
Okay.
But we've had an exceptionally wet fall. But according to Miss McDermott here, she tells me that it doesn't run all the time. It's very intermittent, and it comes from a wetland up by the railroad tracks in the back of the lot. I guess there's a wetland up there.
Okay.
And it crosses the street and goes across underneath the street. She's proposing to construct this house. It is 34 feet away from the drainage swale. The limit of disturbance would be 20 feet away, and any grading would be less than 27. So the disturbance is 20 feet, We're looking to put straw wattles as a barrier for erosion control. And other than that, all the disturbance would be outside of, within that straw wattle area. Does the commission have any questions?
Well, we would normally take a look, and so I think I would like to take a look. And of course, it's the most wonderful time of the year, so everyone, I think, is extremely busy. I know I can't do it this weekend, but our next meeting is going to be on January 9th. I could make some time, actually, not this Saturday, but the next Saturday, which I think is the 22nd, if that would work. When would you like to build?
The house is coming on the 17th. This is a modular unit.
17th
on
of January.
January.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's sufficient time.
Okay. 'Cause
Okay.
we gotta get a foundation in there, get it wrapped.
I understand,
backfilled,
but we need to
so-
take a look.
Okay. All right. Now I have no problem with that.
Okay.
No. There are a few trees on the lot. The trees are shown on the plan. They're little green dots, as you can see them. They are not to be taken down. She wants to keep all the trees on the lot.
Okay.
So the house is going in the grassed area that's already there.
Understood.
It's already staked out. The erosion control's been staked out.
Okay.
All right.
I mean, I think that it's just a matter of going to the property and just taking a look-see,
I mean, this is a really thin property. Have you looked outside the property for wetlands, or, I mean, how far? We have 20 feet to the property
No,
line.
there's no wetlands in the back. It goes uphill.
Like on either side?
Yeah.
Okay. And it's not necessary for you to be there. I mean, we can just, the property isn't posted with no trespassing signs, is it?
No.
Okay. So
No.
we can go there. And it doesn't have to be on the 22nd. If any of us have an opportunity to go and buy the property before, then we will.
Okay.
Okay? So with your permission, we will continue the public hearing for this, this application to January 9th. Do we have anything on the agenda that?
Yes, it's 7 o'clock,
7:10.
South Street.
Oh, okay.
South Street.
Do 7:10
It's
again.
on the agenda, but we're not hearing anything until it's
Okay.
first on the agenda.
All right.
That's it.
She's a 7:10.
What, is that the provost application? Oh, so it's been continued from tonight?
Yes, it was continued from before till January.
January. Yeah.
Okay.
And
'cause I think
I
this-
did just have it on the agenda, but it shouldn't be.
All right, well, we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
So 7:10?
Yeah?
Okay.
Do you always take a site walk?
Yeah.
Do you really?
I mean, in 90% of the times, cases we do. Absolutely.
Just cutting it really close. That's all. I'm just afraid of the deadline. That's all.
I understand,
Never know about weather either, so. Never know. For
so we will, but we will do our best to accommodate you.
Okay.
Okay?
I thank you very much.
All right.
Someone just sign that continuation form?
So is there a motion?
I make a motion that we close the
Thank you.
requested determination from our...
Continue.
I'm sorry, continue it. They would continue
have an extra
to
one?
January 9, 2019 at 7:10.
Okay.
Great.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed to vote? Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. See you then.
Good night.
The next item on our agenda is a 7:15 public hearing, A&N Realty Trust, a notice of intent for the construction of a retail building, parking and associated site work at 872 South Street. Is there a motion open?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed to vote? Good evening.
Evening.
Just for the record, everybody, my name is Zach Couture with HS&T Group. I'm representing A&R Realty Trust for 872 Southbridge Street. So the project involves the construction of a two-story, 1,500 square foot building, along with an 18 space parking lot with an outdoor gravel display area as well. The intent of this site is to be used as a granite sales and like a granite sales and stone establishment. Currently, the site is it's a vacant site. It's actually the former home of the Teddy Bear Farm Nursery.
Oh, yeah.
Right, which
One it was happening.
right. So now it kind of just sits vacant at the moment. So for stormwater to mitigate the stormwater runoff due to the new building and parking lot, we are proposing a pipe system that will include a storm scepter with a grate inlet, and that will go to a subsurface infiltration system. We are proposing hay bales and a silt fence, which will be placed down gradient of all construction activities, and they'll serve as a limit of work for the project. We're also proposing silt sacks be placed in the front catch basins along Southbridge Street prior to any construction, just to provide just some extra protection, as well as a construction entrance as well to prevent tracking onto Route 20 there. This project did receive approval from the ZBA to allow the use. The use is the outdoor display within the highway business zone, so that was granted. We also appeared before the planning board last night for site plan approval. So this project is kind of in the earlier stages of the review process. It was sent out to Graves Engineering for review, which at this point we have not received a letter yet because that whole transaction transpired last week. So we're not coming here tonight obviously anticipating to close, but we figured it'd be good to open it up to discussion, address maybe any concerns, or maybe make some adjustments to the plan in addition to Graves Engineering once we get their review letter to come back to you with a more comprehensive plan set. So with that, I'll open it up to you guys for questions and concerns.
Well, I think most of us are familiar with the property because of Teddy Bear Farms, except for Allison. But it's been actually, I think they vacated the site at least 2 years ago, maybe even 3 years ago.
Yeah, it's been vacant for a little while.
Last year he passed away, I believe, in
Yeah.
October.
Oh, that's unfortunate. But in any event, I think, we normally, as you would imagine, like to
Oh, there.
make us,
Oh, yeah.
make a site walk, and given the fact that I guess you're still involved with planning anyway.
Right, and I'm right, and we're not complete with the review process at all.
All right.
So there's definitely time for site walks and to address any comments you guys might have.
Right, so-
to kind of include it all into one comprehensive plan.
Sure. So again, my suggestion would be that we continue this to our next meeting, which is January 9th.
I have one question real quick.
Oh, sure.
So there's all this empty lot sort of on the east side. Is there a reason why the building, it's just probably easier because it's right off the road, or, you know what I mean? If you almost adjusted it, you'd be further away from the wetland, or is that?
The idea was to utilize the existing curb cut coming off of the road. I mean, dealing with Mass DOT for a curb cut on Route 20 is extremely difficult.
Okay.
So utilizing the existing one was a big reason why it was put there. Also, too, with moving.
Real close.
Yeah, I am aware of that. Also, too, with moving everything over, it would require longer driveways and a little bit more grading as well. So it would cause a lot more disturbance to the overall lot itself. So the idea was to kind of keep everything kind of minimized in that little area. In terms of the continuation, Mr. Chairman, if we could, because we are continued until January 22nd with the planning board, so I think it'd be best if we could push, I believe your next meeting after the 9th is the 23rd, so I think that would probably be best to push it to that.
That's fine.
Yep.
So then we can kind of have everything wrapped up and give Graves time to actually review and us to respond.
Okay.
Absolutely.
That's good.
All right, so motion to continue.
And if I could, before you continue, is there any maybe concerns or anything you guys see with the plan set that, or maybe things you'd want added to the plan, or any general concerns, or?
I think we want to take a look first.
Yeah.
Sure, understandable.
So, Sheila, I'm assuming we have nothing on for the 23rd of January at this time.
Correct.
So 7 p.m. then on the 23rd?
Sounds good.
Okay, and is there a motion? I think Allison was going to start.
Motion to continue the A&N Realty Trust for January 23rd
Second that.
at 7 p.m.
Okay, I don't know if anyone was here to discuss that.
Oh,
yeah.
Well,
Take it
before we take a vote on continuance, is there anyone in the audience that has any comment about this proposed project at 872 Southbridge Street? All right, there being none, there's been a motion and there's a second.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed to vote. All right, thank you, sir. We'll see you on the 23rd.
Thank you for your time, I appreciate it.
And again, you know, as long as the property isn't posted with a no trespassing sign, we can go by and take a look
It's,
ourselves.
yeah, it's wide open, feel free.
All right, thank you very much.
It's definitely wide open.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
All right.
Take care.
Good night.
The next item on our agenda is a 7:20 public hearing, Walter Koza, a notice of intent for the construction of a single-family dwelling at 41-43 Stone Street in Auburn. Is there a motion open?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second it.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It's a vote.
Thank you, Conservation Commission. Glenn Kowalski from EBT Environmental and Mr. Koza. Thank you for this single-family house lot. Notice of intent for hearings. We'll give Sheila the certificate of mailing. I believe my office sent a PDF of the certificate of mailing, but
Yeah.
here's the original.
Okay.
We have it in our computer, so
Thank
thank
you.
you again. Mr. Koza, if you don't mind, through the chairman, Mr. Koza, has the lot been subdivided at this point? Is it recorded? Right. You own the lot at this point. Thank you. So there is, presently there's a house on the property, if the commission got a chance to see it. They're proposing to cut off a 46,000 square foot lot plus 343 square feet. And I delineated, EBT Inc. delineated the wetland boundary myself along this intermittent brook. We did do stream stat, and under USGS stream stat, it's shown to be intermittent, although it was flowing this year. In fact, there were a few shiners right at the road. From the pond over on 20, apparently that's a permanent pond that you might be aware of. And if we say anything, let's see, this would be 20 here, and somewhere up in here there's a pond, and I actually delineated the wetlands originally with Cullen Engineering across the street, so the stream stat, there's a little error on where the drainage basin, it just starts on the other side of the road. There's a pipe coming underneath 20, goes into the pond, from the pond eventually down to this lot. The stream had been channelized sometime in the past, it's evident by cast material, so it was somewhat drained compared to historically, whether it was done by the farmers or mosquito control, but somebody had, in fact, it seems earlier, more recent than farm era. But the wetland boundary, hydric, non-hydric, and vegetation boundary, I gave you BVW data forms. We did auger the soils upgradient of the wetland line in areas, 10YR44 at 13 inches non-hydric. There's some non-hydric old fill. If the commission hasn't had a chance to look at it, again, it's our pleasure to request a continuance to walk the wetland line with the commission. We did have, let's see, I'm working with so many engineers here. Our engineering company did, this was Summit, New England Land Surveying, Summit Engineering out of Oxford. They picked up the flags, subdivided the property, at least on paper, not recorded yet. We are proposing to take down it's Norway spruce mainly along this line where we have kept our driveway outside the 25-foot no disturbance zone. We propose in our project description to take out the exotic invasive plants along this area and also the Norway maple and the Norway spruce. If anyone, the commission maybe have plans, it appears there's some neighbors that want to take a look at this. I'm sure that they can come up closer and look at it, or you could turn it, but then the commission's not seeing it. But my pleasure to give another copy of the plan out to the public. Again, they're looking to come in the back, and as soon as we pass the proposed lot that's cut out, the one with the house on it, we move away from the wetland system and put the house in the back where there is had previously been a field, grass, lawn in that area. And that's a proposed project. We put in measures to protect the resource area, which are on the plan. We have a tire scrubber at the road, and the plan is for a water line with a staked silt fence barrier, and it is serviced by city sewer and city water. That's the project. The trees that are being removed along the line are identified in the project description. And again, it's the larger Norway spruce mostly, and a few Norway maples.
Okay. So when is so the property's being subdivided, and did this require planning board approval?
A&R.
Okay.
Approval not required, right, A&R.
So when will the plan be recorded?
Could I ask the client, has it gone through the A&R phase yet? Have you been to the planning board yet?
Okay.
Can I ask, is there a reason why we're waiting for the planning board? Is that, and that was your suggestion by the engineers?
It's usually the
But
other way around.
Yeah, usually it is the other way around, because in order to record, the order of conditions has to be recorded against the property, and right now, even though, you know, there's a concept, or more than a concept, for the property to be divided, there's no actual 43 Stone Street yet. So all I'm saying, I was gonna request a continuance anyway, because we haven't been able to go out and see the property, but, and I'm not to offer legal advice to you, sir, but the order of conditions has to run with, it runs with the property, so we really need to have a valid property address.
I'll be, along with you, recommending, I was not aware what the engineers were doing on that aspect. We'll move directly forward with the planning board, and also with the site inspection, hopefully with the commission.
Okay. So what date do you have in mind for a continuance? Keeping in mind that our ability to close the public hearing is going to be conditioned to a great degree on what the planning board does.
Thank you. We believe at this time that it does meet all zoning requirements, so we don't see an issue with an A&R lot on it, but we have to get in front of them, obviously, and I'm not aware of their schedule.
May the 8th?
Well, I would
Yeah, the
suggest
second.
At least two.
the 23rd, January 23rd.
Thank you.
Then they do 22.
So if that's agreeable to
It is.
Mr. Koza.
To get through the planning board. A week before the meeting.
So 123,
Let's say
19,
and let's say 7:10.
710, continuance. And Mr. Posa can, if Sheila has the paperwork to sign to agree on that continuance,
Sure.
that's our pleasure.
Let's make a motion to continue Walter Koza for January 23rd at 7:10.
Second that?
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, a vote. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Will we be setting up a site inspection only because, you know, snow might come around any day?
I think email tends to work pretty well for us, so I think we have your email address,
Yes.
and then we will arrange something,
Okay,
hopefully within the next couple weeks.
thank you.
Okay.
Any comments? Why?
I apologize for this, but I know it was only, maybe we want to know what the neighbors, if
Sure.
anybody, if there are any.
Just so it's clear,
Doing that,
we've
sorry.
we've continued the public hearing until our meeting on January 23rd, but if there are any, if there's anyone in the audience that have any questions or comments relating to this property, feel free to stand up and speak your piece. And there are none.
Okay, they were just looking at me. It looks like neighbors to me. I'm not sure. I wasn't sure. Thank you again.
I did have some people,
That's just you.
people that came in to
Ask questions.
look at the plan.
Thank
I'm
you.
just curious.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Thank you again.
Heavy stuff to bring next.
We'll-
Heavy stuff to bring next. I'll tell you.
So we'll immediately move forward with these guys.
Okay.
Saving a lot of stuff on Facebook.
Okay, the next item on our agenda is 7:30 public hearing. Mr. Fitzgerald? For Guest 28 Millbury LLC, request for determination for the expansion of existing parking lot at 28 Millbury Street. Is there a motion to open?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, a vote. Good evening again.
Hello there.
Hello.
How you doing?
Ian?
Owen.
Owen. I knew
Spelled that way to keep you on your toes over here.
Yes, and indeed you have.
Yeah, it's not just here.
Did you ever ask your mother why she spelled it that way?
There was
Probably the Irish way.
a bunch of EOINs in my class at home.
Okay.
Pope John Paul came to Ireland in '79, and Owen is the Irish for John.
There you go.
So
There you go.
it was either John or John Paul or Owen. So they were the options that we had.
Well,
So
thank you for
there you go.
clarifying that.
Yeah, I hope it's recorded in the notes. But anyway, so
Live broadcast.
there we go. We'll be famous soon.
Okay, so anyway, you were here in November?
Last month, yeah.
That's right.
And then I followed up last night with the building zoning meeting.
Okay.
And
The planning board?
planning board, sorry.
That's okay.
And that went pretty smoothly. They wanted to take, and it's the brown roof that's just Google Earth messing with us again.
Do that.
But so I'm coming back on the 6th just so they have a chance to take a good look. But it seemed as if they were like, okay, seems pretty basic.
Okay.
So I'm back again. I know you wanted to take a quick look and drive by. I don't know if you had a chance to go out to the property, but I guess just back if there was any questions on the review of the parking space. I can also run through why we're doing this expansion again. I know there's more than one.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the
Go right
installation
ahead.
of so
Please.
so Karl Stores, the German medical device company, who were moving from Southbridge to 28 Millbury Street to take most of the second floor. They are requiring the installation of an elevator which is on the north side of the building.
Right.
That's going to take between 6 to 8 spaces. And speaking with Caleb, he had asked, it was like, replace whatever parking you lose. And then based on the comments from the ZDA, DCG group, or one of them.
I know, it's so confusing.
They had. I suggested 2 plans. One of them was the one where we, in addition to expanding the parking lot, we take out this chicken wire fence that's on the kind of dividing the driveway that goes to the front of the building and that existing parking lot, and replace it with a landscape bank. So that would, at the end of the day, we kind of square off that odd-shaped parking lot that's on the east of the building. And yeah, so we would add 11 spaces with this new plan, and that's what we're planning to do.
And that's taking 8 away and then adding 11.
It's going to be about 6 to 8. I know they're still tweaking the
Okay.
final plans for the elevator.
Where is that elevator going again?
So the elevator is going to go just in this location here. There'll be an entrance on the first floor, and then they'll get to the existing stairwell. And then the tenant who's in there will have a new doorway out to the for egress.
So what you were talking about building up a ramp somewhere, is that over there?
Oh, the ramp was
Oh, okay.
over here, and it's actually the poured concrete today.
Okay.
It was the most complicated ramp in the world to get up to 10, 12 inches.
Yeah.
And it's purely so that when the FedEx trucks or FedEx or UPS trucks comes, the bed is on the same level as the floor of the loading dock.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So
And
that was all you were doing over there, was putting that ramp for the deliveries?
They put the ramp in here, and then they did repave the existing
Yeah, okay.
asphalt where no expansion happened over there.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? Any questions from the audience relating to the expansion of a parking lot at 28 Millbury Street? There being none, is there a motion to close?
I move to close the meeting.
Okay, is there a second?
A second there.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed to vote? All right, Mr. Fitzgerald,
Thank you very much.
probably render a decision this evening.
Okay.
So thank you.
Thank you very much for your help.
I won't be in tomorrow, but I'll be here on Monday. Okay? All righty, thank you, I hope to.
Take care. Thanks very much.
So, Sheila, just to clarify, has Mr. Provost been continued?
At our last meeting on November 7th, they continued to January. January, we put the 16th. but we meant to put the
November
9th.
Okay.
I
All
have
right.
that, yeah.
Huh?
Because
It's
it's,
November 4th.
all right, so that can go off the agenda.
Our last meeting was November 5th.
It was
I have November 7th.
I thought it was
November
was?
7th.
Yeah.
Yes.
November 7th, do
Okay.
you have that, Sheila? No, I wasn't.
No, she wasn't. That's right.
That's what I
And
thought it
your
was the
absence
5th.
was
Oh,
noted.
Is that what you have, the 7th?
yes.
All right.
Hold on.
All right. So therefore, what time is that? 7 p.m. on the 9th?
Yes.
Okay. Very good. So we'll just cross him
No,
off.
November 7th was like a Friday, wasn't it? Yeah, it was. November
Well,
7th
it
was
would have
a-
been the 5th then.
Yeah. It was the
When
5th.
it was the
It was
I
the
got the
5th.
7th on everything.
Okay.
I just
Just
Sure.
saying.
Are you sure it's the right year?
Yeah.
You sure? Are you sure?
I don't know.
It was
Well,
Wednesday
I'm
the
looking at the
7th. It was
calendar.
Wednesday the
Wednesday was
7th.
the 7th.
was-
November 12th was not a
It
Wednesday.
was
It was
Wednesday the
December.
7th.
It was
I was looking
Wednesday.
at December.
Yeah, that's what I figured. God, you're so
All right.
All right.
Okay, I'm glad I'm not losing it.
No,
No, I
but
am.
apparently some of us are.
Yeah.
Okay. But
All right.
we digress.
Last one.
12.
Schedules.
This part. The next item on our agenda is the 740 public hearing, Master Family LLC, notice of intent for the construction of a parking lot with underground filtration and above-ground floor bay with detention pond at property located at 2428 and 30 Faith Ave in Auburn. Is there a motion to open?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, a vote. Mr. Krabowski.
Thank you again, Conservation Commission. We, talking to existing grades and sending you along their final concerns of the planning board, which is illuminating the crosswalk sign with a solar-powered illuminator, and some construction detail on the pipe crossing underneath Faith Ave, the new Faith Ave that is being constructed, were the only two items. And the engineer, and I, if the commission so chooses, will take that, the issue of potentially being denied or a problem with the planning board, we feel that we're all set with them. So we're asking that if the commission is set here with the design, which is work in the buffer zone in stormwater, we would like to work towards closing this hearing if the commission so sees fit. So I did ask Sheila today, this December 12th email, with having only those two last details, just to clean up, to send it along, and if the commission read it, I'm not sure if you had a chance to look at this is the final email on what's left behind.
Has the
Solar and a pipe underneath the Faith Ave.
Has the stormwater report been revised since all the reviews?
Yes, it met all of Graves Engineering's concerns. And again, if we close this, and if it didn't, well, then it would be on us that we would have to then apparently reopen. So we're not looking to do extra work, so we feel that we're set, because otherwise, if there was any kind of significant change or anything that affected wetlands, we'd have to then come back, re-advertise, send it to the abutters.
Right.
So we're confident in that, because stormwater has been satisfied, and there's only a solar and a pipe detail.
So do you expect to close at the next planning board meeting on January 8th?
Yes, we do.
Can we see the revised stormwater report before then? Or,
Did I see it?
yeah, have we gotten that, or no? Last I remember, there was a lot of comments, and I don't remember seeing anything else since. But I could have missed it.
Well, I can certainly look for the report. There you are. And there was
We have been out there continuously, and we did have some concerns by a commission member about erosion controls being intact. I did go back out there twice, had them fix the erosion controls. We had them clean up the yard again today at the driveway that they had been using. We cleaned out the silt sack. We are working with DPW to make sure there's no water being left on that road. As you know, it's since the middle of July, we've been into heavy rains, and now it seems to be freezing and stopping rain. So we're confident in that we haven't had any problems leaving the site, but it had been dirty, and we've cleaned it up several times, and we did fix the mitigating erosion controls up around the site, just to ensure that that we were intact and doing the things properly according to the original RDA, DA. which allowed us to put silt fence and water lines around the site.
What is the pleasure of the board?
Are you guys here for this meeting? No? Anybody? No?
No.
Okay.
Is that the proposed, that's the existing?
That's
plan?
existing. Would you like to see the proposed? Thank you. Again, the erosion controls have been put in place twice. They were originally put in place for the RDA, and we relayed them out according to this plan in anticipation of, at some point, hopefully building this 168 car parking area. There's underground infiltration, again, gone through graves. There's above ground detention also.
Where does that discharge?
This discharge will be running down into the area that we're restoring the brook bottom in the eastern end of the site, where we excavated the replication areas. We finished the replication here. Well, it still has to grow, but we have our final grades. We're in hydric soils. We planted it, wet meadow seed mix and all the wetland plants out of New England. The other replication area has been dug. It has been planted. We still have to remake the brook bottoms. There's several stream beds in there. And right now, the engineer, where our mitigation at the end of the site down here, let's see, here's the loop. So what I'm talking about is down here, this water then would go down along with the rest of the water that comes off the site and eventually to Eddy Pond. It, as far as making sure that the stream bed, we're working to ensure the proper size stones, that had been eroding, as you might be aware, that over the years, as people increased impervious surfaces, that original stream channel was not handling the flow because it didn't evolve historically with those volumes. So we did have erosion down there where we just rebuilt one in Wayland, not that you care, or another one in Westminster, but we'll be not armoring, but different grade agent stones from Select, which is 10 to 12 inches down with a coarse rock up 6, 3, remaking the stream bottom, as we explained originally to Jillian Davies, who's the consultant for the town for this project. So that the thing will handle the flow going in. Obviously, pre and post is equalized. There's a slight decrease in post runoff, and again, all that water eventually goes to Eddy Pond. Which, if I say one other thing, that we had problems over the years with Faith Ave sand, along with Mass DOT sand, creating a delta 78 feet long, 40 feet wide, 7 feet deep. That's the delta in Eddy Pond. So this whole project now is designed all the way from the top to the bottom to stop sediment from this upper reaches. We can't stop DOT, but they have reduced their sanding. So Fish and Wildlife even chimed in that they said this whole overall project is a benefit to the lake because we're going to get less colloidals, less coarse fills. We'll cease that delta formation, which has been going on since '76, since they made the road.
Right.
Is there any consideration to pervious pavement
On
the parking lot?
Well, there's going to be a lot of plowing in here, and that was the reason why, I'm not sure for the reason we did infiltrate all that's required and over what's required by the reg. And again, graves, we did find that it met planning board standards. I believe that's your standards too for stormwater. No, it hadn't considered pervious pavers. There's many issues with that, the sand clogging it, paving. I think we use it on smaller sites, but not on something that was approximately 1.19 acres is what this is.
It's just a lot of pavement on an area that was, getting recharged before, so it's just hard to...
Well, that's what we're doing with this is recharge. We do have a Canton soil. It's a B hydrologic soil group, and I believe again that at least the engineers who are peer reviewing it find that it meets the standards of stormwater.
Okay.
That's late.
Any other comments from the board? Any comments from the audience? All right. So what is the pleasure of the board?
I mean, I don't know, I would love to see the numbers on the stormwater report, it's just cross off the Ts and.
Well, do we
check the
have a
Is,
copy of the
dot
Graves
Is.
report?
I'm okay with it.
I
I don't have it here.
Let's see.
See, this is part of the, I mean, this, as you know,
Yeah.
and this is not criticism either, but this has
No.
been continued for several months.
Well done.
Let's see. August 3rd, September 4th. Do you have a recent one, Glenn?
I'm looking. What's this stormwater report?
You don't have to, but I think, I think we should have an opportunity to review Graves' comments. And I don't recall seeing them, so.
If you don't recall seeing it.
We don't, I
must
can't
have
confess
them
that,
at home.
yes, I can't confess that I have Graves' latest report. I have the report from the engineer, which is this, yes.
All right.
Here's the,
Can you send those?
here's Graves' report in synopsis, each question that they have and the answers to those questions.
What's the date on that one, Glenn?
This one is 29 October. This is,
29?
and I did send it back to the commission to see what Graves was talking about as far as stormwater and that issue. I mean, other issues that they had, such as parking and lighting, access onto, Bill Coyle had an issue with access onto the New Faith Ave at the corner. That was moved because it was right on the corner of the parking. So that has been changed.
So that was the most recent report.
That's the one I had just before the
No,
last
you're right.
meeting I came to. And if I am, the commission
You think there was another report after that?
not addressing stormwater, because stormwater was, that was the one that addressed that they didn't have any problem with stormwater.
Okay.
All right. I don't recall seeing this, but, I mean, okay, well, again, is there a motion?
Make a motion that we get some more interpretation on the Graves report, possibly.
So you want to continue the public hearing?
I can go on my
Do
computer.
I really want to continue?
Well, you're kind of, using different words, but that's the intent. I mean, the reality is that,
Let me say that, I know that the client, if I could, I know the client is anxious to close. I'm here hearing you. I'm asking for a continuance. The client can wait. He's still got one more planning board meeting. Let me
Exactly.
get the final report, their report, not the comments by our engineer on their report, and give it to you.
Yeah.
And that way,
That'll be better.
so can we come back in at your next meeting, please?
Absolutely.
Can we, I think I would like that.
well done.
Our
Let's
pleasure.
make a motion for that, unless
Yeah,
anyone
why
I
don't
makes
make a
any
motion
comments.
that we continue the hearing,
Thank you.
notice of intent until January
January
9th
At 7,
at
7:20?
7:20.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, the client. 19 at 7:30.
Whoa.
7:20.
7:20.
7:20, I'm sorry.
Okay.
20.
Was there a
Thank you
motion?
again.
Yeah.
Was
I
there a
did make
second?
that motion.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
All right. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I oppose the vote. Thank you, Mr. Grabowski.
Thank you very much.
We'll see you in
The
a
other
few
reason I
weeks.
knew this was the last one, 12/12/18 at 7:40. So that was the last time that this was given to you.
Yeah.
Because I would have written this at
Okay.
that last meeting.
Say it again, I'm sorry. What date did you just say?
Today's date, so I wrote that down as a continuance date. So the last time I was with you was when this thing had come out.
Okay.
Well,
thank you.
But I know we're continued now.
All right, very good.
Okay.
Thank you.
We'll try to make it as brief as possible.
Nice and
I appreciate it again. Good Christmas season. Thank you.
Thank you.
Holiday seasons. All the seasons. Thank you. Everybody's season. Stay warm, I guess we should say. Because it's cool. Thank you again.
So folks,
I think they
according
have
to my
the
agenda,
3 Sophia Drive. 3
okay.
Sophia, what
Well,
do you have?
no, you didn't let me finish what I was going to say.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Folks, this concludes our public hearings. We have other agenda items. The first item on the other agenda items is a request for a certificate of compliance for 3 Sophia Drive. Now, is anyone here for that? All right. Well, I had the opportunity to go out to the property on Saturday. I rang the doorbell a few times. There was no one home. And I looked at the as-built plan. I looked at the back of the property. The riprap was in place, beyond the fence. The constructed condition appeared to comply with the plan that was provided to us. I don't know if anyone else went out to 3 Sophia Drive, but that was my observation. So, is there a motion?
Motion to issue a certificate of compliance for 3 Sophia Drive?
Okay.
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed to vote?
All right,
Excuse me,
I
there are
have,
2 orders on file, so I just wanted to make sure that both
Okay.
certificates were issued for both orders. I'm not sure why they were 2, but there are 2. I just wanted to make sure that
Then, that's
the
right.
motion applied
There are
to
2
both.
listed on
There
our
are two,
agenda.
there are 2 DEP file
Yep.
numbers, so we will make sure that
Yep.
2 orders are issued.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Our pleasure. Wow, you all came to this?
Thank you. Okay, well, all for that.
you got it. Okay.
Jeez, it's like a posse.
Any more to discuss?
No, I don't think so. Bless you.
Bless you.
All right, here's that one. I don't know.
Now, can you,
I thought we signed that other one before.
well, why don't you do another one anyway? Because we can't, I think we need separate
Yeah,
certificates.
yes, we would.
To be
Yeah,
recorded.
this one
Here it
says
is.
595,
I've
yep.
got it right here, I'm sorry.
The other one's 064,
Yep.
658.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Good night, Glenn.
Thank you very much.
Good night.
Season.
Jesus. Hey,
Jesus.
doctor.
Come on.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
All right. Come on.
Jeepers creepers.
Yeah, I'll sign it, and I'm gonna run and make copies myself, and I'll give you the original, so I don't have to have you chasing it down. I know you're gonna
Apologize for that.
That's all right. I've heard worse, trust me.
Oh, yeah. It becomes more intelligible in the...
I didn't use his name, so you're
I didn't
okay.
use the name of the thank you.
Here's the other one.
I was just asking.
Let me just keep it together so we don't get too...
I sent you an email. It's kind of like the church.
On Facebook? Oh, yeah, big time. Yeah,
One thing.
I'll tell you.
Oh, that's one. This is the same Sophia Drive. Yep, right.
Yeah, it's just a different DEP number.
Yep. Okay. This is the other one, 658. Okay, this
That
Burton.
only thing that seats 188, and the second service is the flow every 5 weeks, and the first service is 12.
That's right, of course, that would explain
Yeah,
the intensity.
yes.
Yes,
Yep.
yeah. In Hobbs Brook.
Yeah.
Hobbs Brook, yeah,
Yep.
exactly, sure.
That's one awesome.
Yeah.
Good.
That's where
It's a lot of work, I'll tell you what. It's
Sure.
oh,
canopy.
a roadie. We're there at 6:30 in the morning. We leave there about 1 o'clock.
That's on this.
Yep.
Right there.
In between, we do parking outside, people come in and wave to them and stuff.
In the
Now,
future.
Christmas,
Yeah, that's right.
it's crazy.
20 years
It's
from now.
Christmas, because the
You'll
traffic.
be chairman of the Conservation Commission at that time.
By the second service, and it's like.
Your proteges will surround the table.
Petco, PetSmart, and it's like, wow.
Yeah, there you go.
I think it's a great idea.
Easy place.
You know?
Take it to Walmart.
You know?
In Auburn.
Yep.
We'll have, there'll be like a
Staples, whatever.
virtual reality screen where you can do this and, things will just show up in 3D, like in the movies. What's that?
That's a fabulous idea.
Isn't that?
I think Eric's buying a building.
Is it really?
Yes. He's buying, Glickman. He's buying a lawyer's office on Harvard Street.
I know the office. We can talk about that later.
Yeah,
Good for him.
possibly.
Okay. Anyway, we'll wait for Sheila to come back.
Okay, Sophia Drive.
No, I think we did pretty good tonight. We
Yeah.
went through a lot of
We did
business.
well, I thought we
The only thing that, I know we have minutes, which I'm sure
Way back.
thrilled,
Yeah.
which we can defer those.
Yeah.
Want to do September?
But we need to do an order of conditions for
Oh,
ZP2.
yeah.
You should do September.
Okay.
Do we have to wait until September?
We do.
She hasn't done November's.
Yes.
She has not done November's meeting. I asked
Oh,
her the other
then,
day.
oh, well, that's
So
fine.
cross that one off.
Yes.
Well, she didn't last Thursday when she dropped it off, she said.
All right, I just think we,
And the RDA.
And I don't have the September one, I don't know why.
we have to do the RDA, that's correct.
You have to do them both, okay.
Okay. So anyway,
Is Marshall Provost, which side is that?
that's 0 South Street. Remember we walked in the rain? Well, actually,
I arrived late.
you did. We walked, Tom and I walked in the rain.
Yes, you did, in the rain. It
Yeah.
was really raining.
Yeah, and, you know, the formal policy of the Concom is we're afraid of rain, so we never go out, but we did that day because we were.
did, I know.
because
If
we
I
tried
honestly
to-
had a better raincoat, I would have went back up to the site, but I was soaking wet to the bone, I'll
I
admit
think
it.
there's
I
definitely
was,
enough room out there, the wetlands looks good.
Oh, yeah.
Wetlands are okay there. I've been down around it, but I haven't walked it.
we went to the wrong side of the
You
road.
went to the left-hand side on the right.
And we're like, this is showing it, and we couldn't believe it, like, it's right here, and they're showing it's 50 feet before on the other
It's
side.
right by the tracks, right on the right-hand side of the
Yeah,
track.
But it's across the tracks.
It's across the
Across the
tracks,
street.
on the other
Yeah,
side.
yeah.
Yeah, and over there was fine.
So the first rule of doing sidewalks, make sure you walk the right
Right
side.
side, yep,
Well, the
absolutely.
problem was is that the parcel was differently shaped. He was changing the shape of the parcel, so what we were looking at looked like it fit the
Yeah.
land.
Yeah.
But
And it's
actually-
it's kind of also, it's just it's a long driveway.
That Provost family owned that whole area. They owned that whole,
It would have been
they lived in the parents lived there, so very good friends with my parents.
Saturday.
Yeah, it used to be like a farm, I mean, it was
He had
a
a
farm,
farm,
and
they
they
were
talking
doing-
out when he had a farm
He
and
used
cows
to
up there.
septic, yeah.
Sure,
I
are you
gotta-
sure
I
you
gotta
are
say
you in the
yes.
right month?
Well, yeah, because December 7th, yeah.
He's probably retired now. I know.
I was at the game on the 9th, I'm pretty sure of it. All right.
Alrighty.
I'm gone almost every weekend. Eric rented a house.
Okay, here you go.
Oh, no, Maine. Rangeley.
Thank you.
I have a good friend of mine from high school who lives in Rangeley.
Really?
Love it up there.
So, all right. So we have an order of conditions to issue, and also we have to vote on a request for determination. Why don't we do the request for determination first? This is 28 Millbury Street. The expansion of the parking lot.
Oh,
Propose a negative determination.
I thought we continued that, no?
yeah.
No.
I drove that road, I drove
Closed it.
around the back.
Millbury Street.
Yep.
Owen Fitzgerald explained
Yeah.
the origin of his
Yeah.
name to us.
Yes, it did.
You know,
Okay,
he had
we
that
did close it.
Owen.
interesting accent.
Oh, yes.
Being John, being John.
Very Irish.
Yeah.
Very Irish.
All right, so is there a motion?
I make a motion to give a negative determination for the RDA for 28 Millbury.
Good job.
Okay.
I second that.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It's a vote.
Good.
All right, let me just get some forms here.
That would be good.
It's okay.
On that
Determination.
Does this look like they're gonna haul the site, the snow away?
I tried for that one too. That was gonna be better, but no.
Not too
I'm really
bad.
surprised that no neighbor came about this, so like
Not one.
you know, but look at, and they don't send us those visualizations, right? Look at,
It just, she's proposed snow. Why does it say that?
they made them show where they're gonna push the
I don't
snow.
have this 26, I know I don't have that.
I'll put that as one of the.
September 26th?
Yeah, I have the others, I don't have 26, he's got 26, I looked at everything.
Yeah, on that burden report,
You know what, I just made all,
describes
new ones and I
that
must
they
have
were just
left them
gonna
in
push
my
the
office.
snow on either side of that road.
I
I think
didn't
that was
see
one of the
that.
things.
I didn't see
I
it
don't know
on
what
the
I'm gonna do, maybe we're gonna do
report.
this.
And I was like, wait a minute, it
Oh, it
looks
was
like,
I told
number,
them we haven't done
on
the
page
11.
4, on page 4 of the burden report. They had asked about the maintenance plan snow language. It says snow is applied to the sides of the access drive. Sign has been added to the main gate. The sign states no snow is to be stored in the infiltration basins.
Okay.
see, that's what's killing me. Because,
And when you say killing you mean figuratively, right?
yes,
Thank you.
because it looks like they're pushing it, because I don't know if you guys know snowplow drivers,
Yep.
but do you think that they're gonna be able to follow those little arrows around those snowplow drivers?
Oh, and big posters, I know.
That ain't gonna happen.
No.
Keep in mind that if you remember what he said, they're going to use this access road maybe twice a year.
That's true. So they're probably
said
not
that.
gonna plow it?
They're probably not going to plow.
I think if there's an emergency and they need to get up there, they will plow it.
Okay. Other than that, they're probably
Right.
not. Okay, all right.
Allison,
twice a year.
you were looking for the stormwater report for that project, was it?
Well,
I think it might be in that power that Michael's got. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
And the thing is,
Yeah, here.
Was it that one or that one?
so I do these at work now. This is my new task at work, and basically,
It's the solar, right?
you know, you have to do the full existing conditions, and then you get volume of water that's leaving the site.
because they
And
haven't
you
done
do the
anything
full
on the other
cost
side.
conditions.
They had, I went by there.
All of this forest, you know, you have this dense forest that's, you know, containing all the stormwater and slowing it down, and then they're clearing it, and they're just gonna put in
They
meadow.
reduce the amount of
You
money.
just have to make sure that they're really putting in enough basins and enough swales and other things. That's why I asked
Yeah.
about that.
State is very active.
I mean, they're great, you know, this is gonna be, you see all the dead topo there, they're really pulling this
What's
road
on-
way
what that
up.
They're waiting for the state.
We
I
still
know,
own
it's a
it,
lot-
you mean?
it's
They
a
have
lot.
still
It's a lot of work, but I'll tell you,
the elderly. It was supposed to be
the incline, I don't know what the degree slope was. It is like this,
Yeah, 10 or
and
15
it was an interesting hike going up that hill.
historic. What do we leave? Part of the
They
side.
were added to it. The state has to vote, they have to approve that.
That's what she was wanting.
Okay,
These guys could pull out if they don't.
Yeah,
I don't want to.
They just brought that in recently.
yeah, they're not.
There you go.
Probably look at it again, at least they were gonna
See what they give us for,
Sure.
So they're waiting to see if they're getting anyone, I guess.
small percentage of an increase in benefit, then, you know, but if they've really added enough engineering in there, let's see, these are all the design points.
Is there a party going on outside?
You know, it's even here. They're gonna finally close on the house that they've been wanting to close on.
Is that exciting?
I think they heard us. Good.
Yes.
What's this?
Oh, he's not on the agenda, but,
He was on the agenda in the past, right?
yes, he's coming back in at our next meeting.
Okay.
But he just wanted everyone to get a copy of that.
Okay.
I told him I'd get everyone a copy.
Very good improvement, pretty good improvement, not much.
I'm trying to think when he first
So
came
what,
back.
so
They had
what's
to
the
get an
latest?
as-built done,
Has
that
the company
completed.
said, like, we don't
And
get
then-
approval, we're back out?
Well, that's the company, I haven't heard anything.
And
I think, no, I think you're right.
Could say.
You know, and then which points would have the most,
And we won't do
you know,
it. Yes, it's supposed
proposed
to be.
impact if there was a blowout or something? They just didn't even show up.
When you say a blowout,
Well, just,
like
if
what, a
this is
100-year
wrong.
storm?
I don't know.
Uh-huh.
I mean, even just this last winter.
So they may start, they may think.
I mean, this last,
I know, it's been very
That's,
rich.
no, is Mary Dean one that's right
I don't know
here?
what
Next door,
they
right?
thought
Yeah.
this
They
was,
plan on 55 units in there?
you know,
All right, folks,
$1 million thing. Okay,
focus. All right, so we need to issue an order of conditions for
1 Henshaw Street.
1 Henshaw Street, ZPT.
Oh, question, you were asking about Henshaw Street. Is it a?
Oh, I just wanted to ask, site, size-wise, was it about as big as the other site that we went to in the spring? The one that hasn't been?
It's gonna be 26 acres, I
It's
think.
big, I think it's bigger. I
It is
mean,
bigger.
It's a 60-acre site.
We were there for about an hour, and
Did you walk?
I did.
I'm
and
sure.
there was, is there a house at the top?
No,
Oh,
No, it's,
that
yeah,
open field, they don't know what that was
it's,
for?
it's right near the line. It's right on the line.
Wonder if it was like a runway.
It looked like it was a racetrack or something, didn't it? It was like, it was a good old track.
I didn't see any racetrack. All right. I mean, there was. It's a big property, you know. There's
Was
a
that
pond
the
up there.
right property?
I don't know if it was or not.
Is it right? It's right on the line, correct?
The right, what was his name, that, right wire guy?
Huh?
This is the
And then the
pond.
house burned down?
I didn't see a house.
No, it burnt down like years
We
ago.
walked through someone's yard to get back to the street. The property owner was okay with it. She said it's a good thing her dog wasn't outside.
Oh.
I concurred.
I think that was the one we went to in the spring, they had the old house that burned down on it.
Yeah,
Right,
this
yes.
is, they're close in proximity, but this is a totally
Did you
different
look
project.
down on the lake?
Okay.
But the same issue where this couldn't really be developed
No, oh
for
no,
anything else.
no.
So-
No, actually, it's a good application of the property.
Great.
All right,
All right.
so, is there a motion?
Well, Mr. VP.
We're making a motion, Mr. DP's got it, he's got
Ah, you go. All right, I'll do it.
it. He knows he's got it.
Yeah.
They rely on
He
you.
knows. Favorably, here we go. Okay,
I make a motion
okay, what are we on?
for standard order of conditions, plus the following special conditions. Number 1,
Okay.
number 2,
Mhm.
number 3,
Yep. There's no replication.
there's no replication.
5.
Number 5.
Mhm. 7.
7.
There's riprap.
8.
Yep.
You don't have to put number 9 because it, but,
Because it may not be applicable at all,
right.
unless Nate,
They're not going to plow it up there, so
Right,
there's no
right.
storage.
it's
It's
not,
Yeah,
it's
no
just, yeah,
storage.
okay, so.
Okay.
Number 11.
Yeah, 11.
Number 13.
How about 12?
12. Further alteration,
Yeah,
number
yeah,
12.
yeah.
Yep,
Okay.
we usually use that one. And number 13.
13.
Okay.
And a
And
special condition
special
that they use secondary containment, fireproof cabinets for any of their storage during construction.
We should add that to our special conditions.
Yeah,
but we'll do that
absolutely.
To
at
special,
our next
yeah.
meeting, hopefully. Okay? So,
Okay.
do you have that, Sheila?
Yep.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so vote. Okay.
All right.
And so,
Is this what we're looking at?
while you were out of the room, Sheila, we talked about the minutes, and we all decided that we are just not up for it.
Okay. That's what I've got them all printed, and I must have left them in my office.
So and that's another reason why we can't do it.
Nicely worded.
Yes. So
Okay.
I think we'll defer, but we will, I mean, I don't know how busy we're going to be at the next meeting, but we can at least knock off a couple of them and we'll get them
I've
done.
got November 7th almost done.
The 926, yeah. That's, I remember you mentioned that to me, I did mention
When
it.
you just emailed lately, I didn't have any comments.
Are we doing site visits, or are we trying to go to these places ourselves, or?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, the
Thank
40
you.
Of the,
Well, perfect
Well,
clarification.
excuse me,
The 41
excuse me.
Stone Street.
I
Got it.
invited all of you.
You did.
I was
You
in my
did.
It was
I'm sick of your excuses.
last minute.
For the record,
You've never been
I
here.
didn't get your email until Saturday
I'm
morning.
almost done. I'm done
Oh,
until March.
I really
I'm
want to see
done.
that on the
Okay.
solar.
I think, so if you send it to my work email.
is that better?
It's much better.
All right, then I'll send you your work email.
We saw,
Okay.
I'm done until March, but that leads me to I'm
Right
not
here.
here in March.
I've got 3.
The last meeting
Oh,
in
well,
March. I'm
well,
not
thanks for
here.
letting us know so far in advance.
Coming
Okay.
back until March?
So anyway, to answer your question,
Thank you.
um,
There were 2 yeses.
to answer your question, if, and I know, yes, it's busy, it's, Christmas time, parties, shopping, vacations. So my point though is that if we can do sidewalks on December 22nd, if you are available, we can knock them off pretty quickly.
These are 3 we're talking about?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
how about that? 138 Rochdale, 872 Southbridge, and 41 to 43 Stone Street.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Okay?
Okay, so you'll send out a memo to remind us because...
I'll send you an email. There's no memo.
Thank
for
you
you.
so much. I'm so...
You're welcome.
22nd.
Is there any other business?
Going on with 498?
Do we have any
Oh,
Joe
oh,
Goodman?
thank you. So have we heard from DEP?
Yes, Joe Goodman.
Not yet.
Who'd you send it to? I forget who you sent it to.
Megan Selby.
Yeah? Do we have an email address for her? Or did you send it by email to her?
I did, and then I sent it certified mail return receipt.
And how long ago was that?
I got it right here.
Oh, you sent it by certified mail?
Yeah.
Oh,
And did she acknowledge it?
The green card back.
And what's the date?
November 27th, I mailed it and she received it. I got it back in the office by December 3rd.
Okay.
So.
I mean, realistically, they're probably not going to do much of anything before January.
Yeah.
But Why don't you make sure tickle that for the agenda on January 9th?
Okay, I'm just keeping it there anyway.
Okay.
Enforcement order.
And
January 9th.
why is Berlin Street on the agenda?
I don't know, because we already straightened that out.
Okay, so that can come off.
What, Berlin Street?
And I did send an email to Caleb. The
hasn't been
offices
doing much
continue
of it.
to be crazy, and I was going to ask him today if they went over to Mill Street.
Mill Street, okay.
Okay. Well,
Didn't
just
do it.
continue to carry
Okay.
that.
No one sent me
Okay.
anything back yet.
All right.
Berlin Street was done, yes, okay.
So if there's no other business, is there a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second that.
Second, third,
Fourth?
20.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
aye.
Opposed to
Made that
vote?
motion, right?
All right, everyone, thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
I should count them.
Okay.